Okay, this is the first time I've ever recorded anything, so you'll have to bear with me and forgive me if I make any mistakes. I thought what we would do is show you, well, it was requested that you'd like to see how I do some shading. So I've got a token here that's one I made for our campaign. My DM wanted him. He's a Drow favoured consort, so he's got tight leather pants while he fights, but there we go. So I've made him the same as an epic isometric token here, so you can apply it to that. So it's black line with white. Epic does loads more shading and makes it look great for you, so won't have that much to worry about. But here's what I do. So the first thing I'm going to do is, behind this, put a sort of neutral mid-grey using the colour fill, just so that I've got a neutral background to base it off. And then we're going to add our colour behind this. For me, when I do it, I make it a little bit easy for myself and make a selection here. So I use the magic wand for that. Control Shift and I will invert it, and then I'm going to make another solid colour, and it's there. Now you can't see it because first of all we need to set this line layer to multiply, and then you can see what's behind it. That just multiply just knocks out all the white, so only the dark things show on top. So now we've got this layer, and we can change the colour in there really easy. That's why I like using these over just straight up colouring. But next, we do need to add some different parts of colour. I'm going to do it really quick because I don't know how to fast forward these things, so you'll just be doing it real time with me, but let's go. I don't know which brushes you'll have compared to mine, but I like using these guys. And yeah, let's just see. I'm just going to really quick add some colour, and we're going to mess with this, so you don't need to worry about which colours, I'm just doing it. But you do want them on separate layers, so a new layer for the next colour. I'm just doing them so that I can see where they overlap and where they don't. And then we'll change the colours so they work in a minute. Anything else that's like leather? No, not this time. So then we also want his shirt, so it makes a bit more sense to you. I know, we'll save that secret for in a moment. We'll finish this up. Like I said, I'm just going to do it really rough, so even though I've gone over there, I'm just going to leave it for now. Okay. Now, when I did this last time, I made this shirt sort of see-through because, like I say, he was a Drow favoured consort who really hurt, by the way. I play in the game, but it's my husband DMs for us, and he wrecked us. But it's okay, we're friends now, all's good. Okay, and some hair. One tip I'm going to give you is hopefully you can see my brush there. I can't exactly see where the center of that is. I could make it smaller, but what I'm going to do is press caps lock, and then I get a target instead, a crosshair, which means I can do a bit more precise colouring. So, yeah, I should have made it smaller, but never mind, hey. We're just going to be rough and ready. Okay, oh, let's not forget his eyebrows. And yeah, I'm just going to use this small eraser to get rid of the extra bits that we don't want. Okay, now what I'm going to do first of all is put these in a group, so select them all and press Ctrl G. They're in a group now. Now I'm going to control click on this mask that we made earlier and apply it using this to the group. And that's got rid of all the edges where you thought I'd gone mad or something. I'm gonna just neaten up the little bits where I missed. Doesn't matter that this is the wrong color, it just matters that the stuff is there because now, oh, you know what? This is a belt, isn't it? So I guess this would be leather. So let's set that in the same color. You see I'm doing it on the boots layer. Do it on the same color as the boots. I'm not going to fuss with things like belt buckles on this, but you can obviously go into as much detail as you want. And let's fix up where this shirt goes over. Okay, now my perfectionist side is coming out. I can't handle the sloppy parts that I did. So now what we're going to do is control click on this layer here, if you can see, and then set it to solid color, set it to whatever you want now, and then delete the one we used it from. Control click on this one, solid color, okay, delete this one, it'll show up underneath. There's the layer we've got. Control click this one, solid color, okay, delete that, select this one, solid color, and then okay, now that I've changed this one, that yellow didn't show up how badly it was done, so I'm going to take a smaller brush, because that was the problem, set it back on caps lock, and now I'm going to paint white on this mask, and where the white shows up, the colour comes through. Where it's black, it doesn't. So, I'm just going to neaten up here. Okay, and then let's set some colours. Should we make him Drow or different? I've already got a Drow version, so instead I'll just make him a regular elf that just happens to wear a sheer shirt, I guess. But okay, give him some boot-like colours. What colour shirt? No, that's too bright, but yeah, down here. Okay, and what sort of hair? Maybe we'll go like Eladrin kind of colours, so a little bit weird and wonderful. Actually, no, that's too Drow, isn't it? So put them over here. Okay, so there's your colours, and the good thing here is, I forgot to delete that layer, is that you can, I'm going to add that to the group as well, so now you can see all those colours are in there, and you can change them easy peasy, so it makes it really, actually yeah, let's have some tan skin, I like that. Yeah, you can change them really easily, so if you decide, oh, you know, now we're in a frost place, so I need a frost version of this, you can give them an icy look, but I'll leave it like that for now. Okay, so I'm going to do good practice and label everything so that when we come back, this is a boring bit for you to watch, but do it and you'll thank yourself later. Hopefully you're playing your own music in the background, because I don't know how to add any, so there we go. And skin. Okay, so now you've got all that. Next, we'll make a new group. This one's for your shading. This is where you make it come to life. If this was an epic token from Epic Isometric, you'd already be halfway there because he's half shaded it already for you. So, we're going to start off with the general darkness. I like to use something around here for the shades, these purples, because it just looks good. And I use this flat wonky brush because I just think it looks nice. Now, that looks weird, obviously, but what we're going to do is, actually I'll draw it up first and show you. So decide where your light's coming from first. So mine's going to come from here. The light's coming from this direction, so the shade is going to be on this side. So I'll just start that again. We'll put some on. Now the secret here is that you use the multiply again. So when you set it to multiply, it just blends it in. It darkens, multiplies with the layer that's underneath, and because it's not black like the outline, it just shows through. And because we're putting all of this underneath the line, you can just layer it up really nicely. So we also want to control click again on this mask and apply that mask to that group, and then we can stick the shading in. And just, well, you can be as careful as you like, but my advice is, rather than trying to really delicately and intricately shade something, just go for it, and then you can knock it back and delete it afterwards. It's better to go too far and push it back than spend ages and not get anywhere. So if the light's coming in this way, his head is going to cast a shadow on his shoulder. Be careful when you shade faces, because it can give people really different looks depending on how you do it. That may or may not be what you want to go for. But here we go. This in, all of this side will be in shade, and yeah, put a little bit of this arm would cast a little shadow onto his leg here, and we'll use an eraser to knock back where I put on his hand a bit too far, this arm. But yeah, so there's one. If you feel like the line is too harsh for the type of material you're using, you can use the smudge tool, and again, it depends what you have available to you, but just get used to playing with what you have. I like this soft wet blender, and yeah, you can just soften. No, I'm drawing. Go back. There we go. Here's the blender. You can just soften the edges of what you've done. Yeah. For me, I like to do a second layer with a bit more of a detail brush. Go back to my paintbrush. I like this little detail brush. And then this is where, oh, I forgot to do the detail in his face, but you get it. You can put in some bit more detailed lines and some darker shadows where there'd be more cast shadow. Oops. Like under his nose or the side of his nose. And this is where you can really change the look of someone's face with the shading. Whether it's like, if you think about when you put a torch up underneath your face, the shading makes you spooky. Or when you have really good lighting, then you get a nice photo. So that's a factor. One thing we didn't do, I'm just going to add a few more bits, is let's make this shirt does, you can like see his abs and stuff through this shirt, so let's add a bit of that back in. I said that, but then I just got carried away with doing the lines, didn't I? Okay, let's go back to this shirt and let's see if it's, no, that's too much. If we knock it back a little bit, then it looks a little bit see-through. Technically, I would probably add an extra layer to the sleeves and the collar where the fabric would be a bit thicker, but never mind this time. Okay. Shading is done, although I could spend a lot longer on this, but I'm just going to skip forward so that you get to see what's up. new layer. I like using not white, but a off-white creamy sort of colour like that. And I'll go back to my flat wonky brush, and now you're adding the highlights, so everywhere that the sun would be hitting on this side of the face. Doesn't hit here because his hair's blocking it, but here we go. We'll just put, that was a bit too much, but let's go back. Everywhere that might catch the light a little bit. And you can think about what kind of material it is that you're, like, these are quite shiny, I imagine, because they're all tight and wrinkled. It makes me think they're leather pants, but you know, if they were woolen fabric, they wouldn't reflect so much. I'm gonna just calm some of those lines down with the blending tool, smudge tool. And then, you know, this stands out too much, so I am going to set it to soft light. And then it's just a real nice, subtle change to it. And do the same again, use a slightly more detailed brush, and let's see, do some more highlights. Hair's usually pretty shiny, so don't be afraid to add that. I didn't do his little hair tie there. There we go. Maybe he's got a little bit of shine that creeps through onto here. Now that we're here, I can't not do it anymore, so I'm going to add a new group, and that's for his face. Usually I do the eye colour here as well, but it was left over in the line work that I saved up for you. But here we go. That should help. His eye is peeking out. Okay, back to what we were meant to be doing, which was these highlights. Bit of texture into the shirt. And if you're doing like chain link or something, you can really highlight those chains where it will sparkle because it's metal. And just remember which direction your lighting's coming from. So I know it's coming from up here, so it would hit the top of these creases in these pants. Yeah, that's pretty much it. There's a couple more things I do though. For one thing that I do is make a bunch of different colour versions, so we did that one. But I'm not loving it honestly, so maybe what I'll do is I'll go back to being a Drow, because that should be cool. So that's that. For the hair for Drow, instead of doing bright white, I usually put it as like a sort of greyish yellow. Looks a bit more natural. Let's see. Yeah, darker shirt. Let's put it back into the purple range. Yeah, there we go. And this boot's pretty good, but maybe I'll make them a bit more muted, a bit more grey. Oh yeah, up there, I like that. Okay, so now you see, because I probably did that a bit fast. What I did there was I took this colour layer that we'd used, dragged it down to the group layer. Oops, that was wrong. Dragged it down to the new layer, and it makes a copy. So now there's two of those. This one was edited. I'll delete that extra one I just made. So we've got this one, which is kind of a green base, and this one, which is more of a violet base. So there, you've got two different versions, and you can just multiply that and make as many colour versions as you want. And yeah, I'll do, again, label, because you'll forget what's what, and it makes it so much easier when you do. So just high for highlights. And here's a little extra bit. I like adding this blue colour. No, what am I doing? Detail brush, there we are. Because, you know, you rarely have just one source of light, so what I'm going to do is, just to make it pop a little bit, is add this blue from the other side for some reflective light that's coming out from there. It just makes it pop a little bit more. Okay, and with that done, let's say that's good enough. Well, one last thing I'll do is knock it back, because that's a bit too much. I usually put it around 30 or so. You can see the difference it makes. It just adds a bit more three-dimensionality to it, I guess. Okay, now hopefully... Oh yeah, I kept the swords in as a cheat. Hopefully that makes sense to you. Gives you some information. It's just a simple token, as it did it quickly. But yeah, if you got any questions, let me know. I'll see what I can do. Here you go.